Hey there, Starcraft 2 fans. Today we're going to look at a team game analysis on a 6-pool. Unfortunately, on this particular match, I did get 6-pooled by this Zerg player down here in the lower right-hand corner. You can see that he has not started producing any drones yet, and unfortunately, I'm not sure why he's bringing his Overlord to the back of his base. He should be using that for scouting. But what we're going to look at is primarily how that can affect the team and how you can recover from it. These three players on the right side, the purple Terran Goose, the orange Protoss player Pandametric, and the yellow Zerg player Something Gay. On the left side of the map, the other team, my team, is the teal Zerg player Skullduggery, the red Terran player myself, and the blue Terran player Sarius. We see Sarius come up here to throw down his supply depot, same thing for myself, and our Zerg player is just mainly droning up at this point, got his Overlord on the way. We do see that the spawning pool is now about halfway complete for his teammates. They're basically just doing a normal opening. The Terran player getting his supply depot actually not at the wall, not at the normal wall place, but back here in his base. So let's see how this progresses. The Zerg player about nearly finished now. You can see he has his larva highlighted there. He's ready to go ahead and produce those Zerglings as quickly as possible. His other Overlord just hanging out over the top of his base. Still sitting right now on 5 drones. Not sure why he hasn't produced any more, aside from that he's going just with the 6-pool, but he could have produced at least 1 or 2 more drones in there somewhere as opposed to just sitting on all those minerals. If we look at the harvester count, you will notice a huge discrepancy. Obviously only 5 harvesters, everyone else pretty much the same. So he's moving out with his Zerglings right now, and obviously the best target for him, since the blue player has walled almost, there's a slight opening here at the top, and I have walled, his best option is going to be to go for the teal Zerg player. The Zerg player just now throwing down his spawning pool in a rather odd location. Typically players are going to throw it down here, maybe even over here, back here, somewhere in the back, just to keep it a little bit more protected. Prevent the potential for a 6-pool. If they get a surround on the spawning pool, it can go down quite quickly. We do see the yellow Zerg player sitting on, now he has 8 Zerglings actually, 10 Zerglings now, my mistake. Bringing them down in here. Based on the amount of drones, he should be able to hold this particular rush off. He did have 16 drones to begin with. So we can see how this is affecting this particular attack. Now, obviously, this is going to be a bit of a problem because he's just producing his queen. He doesn't have any Zerglings on the way, just another Overlord. At this point, I think his best option would have been to produce some Zerglings. You can see his income is about, or his mineral resource count is about 120. He does go ahead and produce another drone. I think that's a bit of a mistake. I would have gone ahead and produced some more attacking units here, just because he knows that there's a 6-pool on the field. I do bring down a couple of Marines. Unfortunately, I get them here just in time for them to get 1 or 2 kills and then die. The rest of his drones quite quickly go down because he doesn't attack with them. Queen obviously is going to get surrounded. She does have her back up against the hatchery, which is good because the Zerglings cannot get a full surround. Unfortunately, with that many Zerglings, it really does not matter. So yellow continuing to pump Zerglings down here. You'll see he still has not produced any additional drones, still sitting on those 5 drones. So definitely a cheesy maneuver on his part. Take a look up here at the orange Protoss player, chrono boosting out his warp gate technology. He's only got 1 gateway down, both gas running right now, so we could potentially see either robotics tech or a Stargate come out maybe later. The purple Terran player, he does have a Ghost Academy going down, something you don't see very frequently, especially against 2 Terran players and a Zerg player. Might see that against a Protoss player just because of the potential for a High Templar, but against a couple of Terrans, I just don't see that as being something that's going to be terribly useful. Does have the cloaking research started, personal cloaking. He does have a bit of a wall built up with his units. I don't see that as being terribly useful. Maybe if he was playing a Zerg opponent that was going to attack him, but the Zerg opponent's cross map, I don't think that that's the best thing for him to do. A little chat going on down here. Obviously, my teammate was a little bit upset. I try not to take these games too personally, so I try not to get upset when someone cheeses. It's just part of it. You either scout it and hopefully are able to defend it, or you lose to it. So the teal player is now completely out. He has no more drones. All he has is a couple of Overlords and an Extractor and a few larvae, which are going to be killed here by the Zerglings. Oh, bringing over even more Zerglings. I'm not sure why he has not started to pump out drones yet. You'll see he's still sitting on just those 5 drones, which means he is going to have a really difficult time producing anything besides Zerglings. Myself over here got the tech lab, have the siege mode started for siege tanks, a couple more barracks, so 4 racks. Also have the starport going down. If we take a look back over at the income tab, we'll see that I'm a little bit behind the purple player, about even with the orange player. Blue, actually, he's quite low. You'll see that he doesn't have quite as many SCVs. He only has 19 SCVs, whereas I have 21, and the other 2 players have 27, 28, respectively. You'll notice here that he does have a fair-sized force of Marines. We do have Stimpack nearly finished for him. He is throwing down another reactor, so obviously going primarily Marines with this build. You'll see the Zerg player, the yellow Zerg player, now attempting to come up to the blue player's base. What we'll notice here is when the blue player begins to attack, I'm going to pause it here for just a moment, you'll see he has his Marines a little bit spread out, the Zerglings beginning to come in, and I'll show you how unfortunate of a misclick he makes. You'll notice that the blue line for the attack actually clicks on his barracks. So all of these Marines here in the front line are actually not attacking any of these Zerglings, which would be easily beatable if they were shooting the Zerglings, but he accidentally misclicks and hits his barracks. So all of these Zerglings are just going to have their way with these Marines while his barracks is taking damage, taking friendly fire. He does have a few more Marines here in the back, which he brings forward to help clean up the Zerglings. His barracks almost goes down. I'm not sure if he actually, I think he just lost all the Marines that were attacking the barracks, and that actually saved the barracks from falling. He does pump out a few more Marines there, and you'll see that he brings some workers up to do repair and also finish his wall in. You'll note that I did say that this was a slight opening, and that's obviously how the Zerglings were able to get through. If we take a look down here at the center of the map, we notice that orange has thrown down a proxy pylon. We've got a ghost coming across from purple, along with a few Marines. He does have a second Ghost Academy on the way, so we can see that he's looking to do nukes. Now, something important to note is when a player cheeses like this, and particularly this team, probably thought that since Teal was completely eliminated from the game, this was going to be an easy match for them to win. You'll notice they went for a little bit more unorthodox strategy. If purple had just gone Marine and Marauder, most likely they would have had a lot better chance of winning. If he had pumped out a few siege tanks, most likely they would have had a better chance of winning. But going for these dual Ghost Academy and strictly trying to nuke, probably not the most normal approach when you're facing 2 Terran players who can call down a scan at will, basically. If we look over here at the orange Protoss player, again, not an orthodox play. 2 gateways, and that's it. He has nothing else going on. He has 2 more gateways coming in, but realistically at this point in the game, 8 minutes into the game, a 4-gate should have been able to be executed by now, and he should be ready to attack. You'll notice that his income is quite good. If we take a look over here, he has 29 harvesters, whereas purple has 31, so he does have a pretty decent amount of harvesters. He should be able to pump out that 4-gate no problem. If we take a look at the army tab, obviously I have one of the bigger armies because I have not been majorly attacked yet. These 2 players each with a sizable army, not a huge army, but a sizable army, and the blue player, obviously, since he just got mauled by all those Zerglings, has basically nothing. But if we take a look at yellow, he is essentially out of the game. You notice the teal player is completely out of the game, but look at yellow. He has essentially nothing. He has a spawning pool, and he has 8 workers and a hatchery. That's it. Because he never actually transitioned out of that 6 pool, he just continued to pump Zerglings with the hopes that his teammates would be able to make an effect and actually do some attacking. You notice this ghost come across here. He is going to take a look at my wall, obviously decides he doesn't want to attack there. Excuse me. And I'm not sure what Skullduggery is doing with his Overlord here. Mainly Stalker's going down for orange with that proxy pylon in the middle. That's a good location. He can pump units in there. If we take a look at what purple's plans are here, he's obviously planning on throwing down a nuke. You'll see he does have the nuclear missile available. He is cloaked, still has 90 energy, so he has quite a bit of ability to throw down the nuke. But you'll see that with this help of the scan, bringing over his Marines, bringing over my units, scan, and immediately that ghost is gone. Now if we take a look at what was lost as a result of that ghost, ghost costs 150 and 150. 150 gas. On top of that, he's wasted 100 and 100 for minerals and gas on the nuke, because once the nuke is launched, even if the ghost dies, the nuke is not recovered. That's it. It's gone. So as a result of that, he has lost 250 minerals, 250 gas that was just completely wasted. Now, if he were to produce that somewhere else, that's a couple of marauders, that's a couple of siege tanks, different things that he could have thrown down to have a better effect than just wasting it like he did. Now, if the nuke had landed, yes, he would have done an immense amount of damage. But realistically, against 2 Terran players, it's going to be very difficult to make a nuke land. So in terms of that strategy, I don't think in this instance it was a really good idea for him to go ahead and do that. We'll speed things up a little bit here. Just kind of a lull in the game. We just kind of continue to macro up a bit, produce some more units. And we'll look down here. We'll notice that the Zerg player, he's gone ahead and thrown down a Roach Warren. He has quite a few more harvesters now. Getting down his second gas. But realistically, he's still only at 14 drones. 14 drones this far into the game. A Zerg player should have way more than that. And you'll see that Skullduggery does point out that he does indeed have nothing. So we're going to move down here and very quickly dispatch of this Zerg player. Obviously, this is going to put us on equal footing, and I would say even us quite a bit ahead, because with this Zerg player out of the game, that's one more threat eliminated. We don't have to worry about the chance of Mutalisk or some other type of harassment unit coming out of him. And on top of that, we have a much larger army than the purple and the orange player. If we look here at the army size tab, 75 and 66 for our team, and 58 and 61 for their team. So they have quite a smaller army. We do see the ghost comes down here and tries to do a bit of harassment, and you'll notice that he does kill 1 marine there. So he killed 50 minerals worth of supply. Now if we go and watch the scan, immediately loses that ghost. So there's 150 down the tube again that he's just wasted to do only 50 minerals worth of damage. Really not a great exchange there, and it's those types of losses that can really cost you the game. Earlier when the orange Protoss player attacked and he had his proxy pylon here, he lost 100 for the proxy pylon, he lost 6 or 7 stalkers. I probably only lost a handful of marines and a couple of marauders maybe. So in terms of damage, not effective. We do see that the orange Protoss player does have, he's chrono boosting out the, actually he's not chrono boosting out, but he's getting the thermal lance upgrade, does have a Colossus on the way, so he has transitioned out of this a bit. We do hear another nuke going down, where is that? Back on Blue's main base, but Blue has gotten smart, picked up a couple of Ravens, and again, dispatched to that ghost. So again, 250 minerals and gas down the drain. So Blue, I think, is getting a little fed up. Obviously getting a little tired of the nuclear missiles. That can be a little bit frustrating when you're constantly having to chase him down. So he's going to move out. Unfortunately, he just kind of goes down here and checks. I think he was looking for an expansion, and pretty much that was it. Now during that time, I actually missed it, but down here, Yellow had begun to rebuild his hatchery. I sent a very small force down there of 3 marauders, 1 marine, and that hatchery was destroyed. So Yellow now is actually completely out of the game. I'm not sure where he managed to hide a drone there to rebuild that, but he did have one somewhere. You see Orange does come out to attack Blue, but this large marine force is going to get quite a bit of damage from this Colossus. This Colossus is able to get quite a few kills. You see he's already up to 10, 11 kills, but once he gets flanked, that's pretty much it. So he did get quite a few kills, but realistically, our army sizes are just far too big. They didn't bother to attack together. If Purple had come in with his Marines and Orange had come in with his units, he would have had a lot greater effect. Another ghost dies there. You'll see he did have only 1 nuclear missile and actually just fired 1. Now he attempts to fire it here, but again, with these Ravens really are a key part to having the army. Point defense drone, again, I've mentioned before, is really good. Not to mention just the fact that they can detect units. That's always a huge benefit. If we take a look here, we're just going to wipe out the Purple. He doesn't have really any other defense. He pumped out some Marines through all of that, but if we look at his minerals, he has 4,900 minerals. You cannot allow your minerals to get that high. Just a handy little tip. If your minerals are getting that high, you are not macroing properly at all. He's obviously spending way too much time doing micro in terms of trying to get those ghosts to have some effect, and not nearly enough time doing any sort of macro. If we look at the orange player, he actually left the game, so he has no money because that gets transferred over immediately. And the yellow player now has a ton of money because all the money's been moved around. So throughout that game, it's kind of ridiculous that Purple had such a small effect on doing any sort of damage. I don't know why he let his minerals get up that high. You know, if that's the case, throw down 3 or 4 more barracks, put some reactors on there, and just start pumping Marines, because they're going to do far more damage than the money will sitting in the bank. We're going to go down here, finish off this small force. Some of my units did get roasted away there by a Colossus, but pretty much that's the game. So what it really came down to was the 6 pool. If you're going to 6 pool, you've got to transition out of that. And unfortunately, since yellow never managed to transition out when attacking teal and just continued to pump a few more Zerglings that really did virtually no damage, even to blue, I mean, it did wipe out quite a few Marines strictly because of a misclick. Had he have not misclicked that on his barracks, he would have done so much more damage to those Zerglings and would have basically taken them out. If we take a look at myself, I actually had intended to expand and for some reason left my command center here. But you'll notice my minerals, my gas got quite high because I was producing mainly Marines, Marauders. They're not gas intensive. I never really did pump out a medevac. But gas did get quite high, but minerals staying quite low. And same thing for blue. I think he did pretty well. A little high on the minerals. He was supply blocked, so that did cause a bit of trouble. But he had gone ahead and expanded, got the planetary fortress down, so he could have easily transitioned out. You can see he has the tech lab on the starport. The reactor on the starport could have pumped out a lot more units. But an inability to transition out of a 6 pool is always going to be a detriment, because you're basically, yes, you may take out another player, as he did with teal, but you have nothing, so you will be taken out shortly thereafter. You have to transition out of that. For the orange Protoss player, definitely should have gotten these other gateways up more quickly. Allowing that much time in between pumping out units and getting an army is never a good thing. I'm not sure if he spent a lot of time spectating or what. And purple, as far as Ghost Academies go, they can be effective, but focusing only on ghosts and forgetting to macro, not a good thing at all. You notice that our macro was quite good this game. We pumped out a lot of units, and that's eventually what won us the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast. I hope this helps you when you do get 6 pool. I know it's very frustrating and it can really make you rage quite a bit, but hopefully this will give you an idea of how you can counter it. If you're part of a team and your ally gets 6 pool, encourage him to stick around, because if he's a Zerg player, having those Overlords scout around is always good. And it really does make a difference to have somebody else there with you and not feel like it's just 2 on 3, that you actually do have an ally encouraging you, helping you watch the mini-map, things of that nature. I appreciate you guys watching, and if you feel like it, you can always subscribe or comment down in the comment section below. Thanks. Bye.